was lucky enough to become a member of the West Sussex County Council Social Services Committee. I think I first went on that committee in 1977, and I stayed on it for 12 years, and it was my main interest, really, within the County Council's many other areas of work, social services. And part of being on the Social Services Committee was that you were expected, and bear in mind, was just about going back to the era where they were landed, leisured gentlemen, and I certainly wasn't one of those. And so we were allocated a number of homes, and in those days West Sussex had many, many residential homes, all sorts of different homes all over the place, and we were expected to visit at least 6 of them, you know, like in a 6-week period. And one of the ones which was local to me really was Milton House. And I remember going there for the first time. I had great difficulty finding it because it's in this little back street at the back here, and it wasn't obvious where it was at all. Nobody else seemed to know where it was, but I found it. And I remember going in, and it was strange really, because you went in from light to almost dark. It was very dark inside, and all around the rooms and the corridors were rails, and they were all notched so that people could feel their way around the home.
So was it intentionally dark?
Yes. Well, if they were all blind, I suppose.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
You know,
but it's just if you had partial sight, then...
Yes, I don't know whether there were partially sighted people, but I was supposed to go there and sort of do a little report on it, you see. We didn't have enough knowledge to report anything very useful, so you generally tended to talk to people who were there, on the staff of course, but one of the patients or one of the clients I should say, who at Milton House for the blind, was one of my old school teachers, and he developed diabetes and become totally blind. So you know, we had quite a lot in common, so we could sit down and have a chat about all sorts of things, and about when he was my teacher, and you know, I was one of the naughty children in his class, and that kind of thing.
What school was that, Graham?
Shoreham Grammar School, which was then in Pond Road, long demolished. They'd moved elsewhere. The other thing I remember was that there was a resource centre at a home called St Giles for the younger physically disabled, which was on the Lancing Industrial Estate. Again, another place I used to visit. And within that establishment, there was a resource centre for blind people who could go there and be shown all the wonderful aids and adaptations. I was tremendously impressed by all these things that they had, you know, for stopping the milk boiling over, and all sorts of wonderful ideas. And so that was a very interesting point. While I was there, they said, would I help them? They wanted some publicity for the St Giles home, particularly for the blind people. And so I said yes, of course. And so they arranged to meet me in the Lancing post office, which is a new building, fairly new, and it's very high ceilings with a stone floor, and everything clatters like mad in there. So I went in there, and they were waiting for me, and they said, would I mind putting on these dark pair of glasses? Which I did, and immediately I couldn't see anything at all, and I panicked. And I didn't know where I was or where anybody, but there was all this noise all around me. It was really quite frightening, even though I knew that they would take these glasses off me eventually. And then after that, they gave me a pair of dark glasses with little specks in them, little white, so there was a little bit of light coming in, and they gave me a long white cane, and I had to walk around the post office and to experience how, you know, a person with very bad sight would feel. And believe you me, again, it was a very frightening experience for me. and especially coming out where there were steps to go down, and feeling very gingerly. And I think they took a couple of pictures, and you know, it's very amusing to look at it, you know, going back a long way to see what I look like with a pair of these glasses on and a long white cane, fumbling my way down these steps. So that was principally, apart from the other thing, I had a choice was to choose, did I want to be on the West Sussex Association for the Blind or for the Disabled? Well, I didn't know, I went on both actually. So I used to go to meetings, and sometimes Lady Sarah Clutton, who's just recently died, Duchess of Norfolk, Lavinia, Duchess of Norfolk's daughter, would be there, and sometimes at special occasions like AGMs, the Duchess of Norfolk herself would appear. So that was also another interest, and it always makes me think, did I know that I was going to be partially sighted? Later on, that I chose that particular aspect of the County Council's work to find the most interesting and most rewarding.
Milton House closed in the 90s, was it early 90s, or was it earlier than that? 94. Oh, well, you've been reading your book.
94,
and presumably that was because by that time it was seen as an inappropriate way of dealing with blind people or putting them in a home together.
Well, I think there was a general point here that they were moving away from residential homes, full stop. You know, there was always the possibility of scandals. There was one at St Giles, I can remember, where people were living, and you had, unfortunately, the wrong kind of people working in those places. So there was a general move away from residential towards care in the community, was what it was called. And that, of course, is when Gradingwell gradually emptied. I mean, there was lots of problems before then, with the revolving door syndrome, with people coming out of Gradingwell, going down to Littlehampton or Bognor, and then not taking their tablets and straight back in. But so West Sussex gradually began to close all homes, and they had a lot of homes all over, most of which I visited at one time or another. Yes, sorry, I'm going on. St Dunstan's is actually owned by an organisation called Blind Veterans. Tremendous amount of sympathy after the 1418 war, when so many people came home blinded by gas and so on and so forth. And there's a huge amount of money raised, and so they built St Dunstan's, and they've got another place up in Cheshire, and there's a lot of daycare that goes on as well, and voluntary work with that organisation. So I suppose the police and the Army, Navy, Air Force, all those sort of people would probably qualify. And maybe
yes, I'm sure.
Their dependents.
Well, as I said, my nan worked there. She was like a housekeeper.
Did she?
But